Welcome back to Grump's barn on this beautiful, beautiful day. It's lovely out there. A bit too warm for me though, it's up in the 20s. That's not normal around here, but there you go. We do get it a few days a year and we all melt. Anyway, today we have good and we have bad things. I'll start with the bad things. Bad news. The old girl, well, it's good news for you because you'll see the old girl back in here again shortly. Unfortunately, although I'd fixed everything and I'd rebuilt the master cylinder and everything, the brakes are still iffy because the master cylinder is leaking fluid from somewhere around the reservoir. It wasn't doing it before, not properly. It appears there's a small crack there somewhere, which is obviously where it was getting out before, and somehow was leaking inside as well. I don't know, fucking hell, how the hell it did it. It did have a dodgy seal on the back actually. By that I mean the end that goes into the servo. So I reckon it was leaking a little bit from two places in the past. But anyway, I've had to buy a new master cylinder. I tried rebuilding it, as I say, but no, wasn't having any of it. So that'll be here in a few days. When that arrives, I should put that on and bleed it up, and then we can go for a run in the old girl. But at the moment I can go for a run in there, I just can't stop. I just drove it up to the garage in low gear, 4-wheel drive low. That way I didn't have to bother about brakes. I mean, I was getting overtaken by ants, it was that fast. Anyway, now on to the good news. Look at this. Look, it's our favourite friend. The fucking Freelander. It's back. Everyone say, hello, good friend. Fucking thing. Now, it's now time for a new wheel bearing. I hate these things. Wheel bearings, that is. Not freeloaders, although I do hate freeloaders as well now. Big time. Let me just undo this. That's it. We've now got the bonnet up so it looks like I'm doing something. Oh, deep joy. Now all I have to do is this wheel bearing, front and rear side. We shall see how it goes. I've got two other little jobs to do. As I said in the last video, on this side the caliper is a bit sticky, so the pins obviously need greasing up on that, because as you know these are floating on this bugger. So obviously the pins are a bit sticky, so hopefully I can do that without having to replace the fucking pins or anything. And at the back on this side I've got to just whip the drum off and grease up the bloody handbrake linkage because it's a bit sticky on that side. But that was the side I didn't grease. Why I didn't, I don't fucking know. There you go. Madness comes in all forms. Right, gonna get this up in the air a bit, get that wheel off. Oh, actually, before I get that off, I will loosen up the hub nut on it while it's all down on the ground and easier to do. Right, let's get that done. Right, there we go. That's the big nut off here, 32mm. I've got several other things to take off. Well, in fact, there's not a lot to this job, it's just a pain in the arse getting everything apart. These dirty, horrible bolts here, and through it here. nicely rotted. Those two have got to come out. This carrier has to come off, but you can take off the entire assembly. I'll have to get a screwdriver in the back here, and if you carefully get a nice big screwdriver in there and push your piston back between the back of the pad and the piston itself, then you can get enough room to get it off nice and easily in one hit without taking anything apart. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I also have to take this drive shaft out, which is going to be a complete nightmare because it wouldn't move last time. And the worst of all, bits of it, see this here, this little, and it goes down to the back here. There we go, I don't know if you can see that. That is the ABS sensor, and that has a 10mm headed bolt that is renowned for snapping, because they just stay in there for so long, they just rot in place and then they won't come out and they just snap. You can't heat them or anything because you've got the ABS sensor right next to it. You have to take that out to get the ABS sensor out. And also you have to undo the ball joint at the bottom, which you've seen in my other videos anyway, which you have to use a spanner on because you can't get a fucking socket anywhere near it. And you also have to split that ball joint. So I'm just going to soak everything in shitloads of penetrating fluid, and then I'm going to start by trying to remove the little bolt, I think, from the ABS sensor. We shall see what happens. Guarantee it will snap. Well, so far this is living up to being a pig. Yay, yummy. The two bolts that hold the caliper onto here, or the carrier for the caliper, are supposed to be 15mm. Bottom one 15mm. Top one had a 14mm head on it. Fuck knows. And getting the disc off, very easy, especially if we've got an impact driver. You just got two little screws that go into these holes here with a Phillips head on them. Thankfully someone hadn't made a complete mess of them, and they came undone nicely. I think they had a bit of copper grease on them by the looks of it from last time they were on. And also the bolts through here also had copper grease on them, which was nice. Still twats to get loose, but once they were loose they came undone very easily. And I've had to do something I wouldn't normally do. On any car, you can't get this undone. I don't know what the fuck it's got on there. But from here I can't tell. I've tried every single fucking thing I can on there to try and work out what that is to undo, and no, won't undo. So what I've done is disconnected the ABS sensor, and I shall have to leave it in place for now, and unless when I get this out I can see what's on there and get it out of there. But we shall see. Right, next I've got to free up the ball joint under here, and then these two bolts I'll have a go at. See if we can get those fuckers undone, because they're the biggest pain in the arse on any motor. At least with this one, thankfully, unlike the back, where you have to take off this whole collar fucking assembly because it's attached to it, like most fucking motors, this one, thankfully, you only have this here, this plate that goes in, and it's just sandwiched between the two parts. So once you've undone the bolts, yeah, then it should come out. You can just knock it out if it's a bit hefty. So, maybe a bit better than I thought, but we shall see. Well, you're not going to believe this. Look, it's off. Okay, it's still got the fucking ABS lead attached to it, but there's nothing I can do about that. I'll have a good look at that in a minute. These bolts were rather tight. They're an 18mm head on the front side, and on the back you've got a 21mm nut. Yeah, nut. Although it didn't feel like that initially, there was so much crap on them, they'd grown so much. But there we go, it's all out. And if anyone is ever doing any one of these, if you haven't got a 21mm spanner to go on the ball joint, then you can use a, what did I use? 7/8 I think. Yeah, 7/8 spanner. Fits nicely. Right, oh, and as you can see, I also got the drive shaft out. Sprayed it with shitloads of penetrating oil. Put the old nut back on and just gently tapped it through and it came out. No problem at all this time. Thank fuck. Probably because it's been used since I last did it. I couldn't get the fucking thing to move at all. Solid. Anyway, that's that done. Now what I got to do is take this to the press and press out the middle there, which is your carry if you will. Hang on a minute. Let me just get this here. Oh, can you hear that? Yep. That is rough. There's absolutely no play in it whatsoever, but it's rough. So yeah, that has got to be replaced. Let's get to the press. You're not going to believe this. I've had some luck. Couldn't get anything on that. It's a teeny head on that. It's about 8mm, I think. It's knackered. Managed to turn it with the old mole grips, or vice grips as they call elsewhere. Look at that. Unscrewed. I can put a new bolt in that. Well, it's actually got a head on it. Wow, I don't believe it. That is amazing. Whether I can get the sensor out or not is another matter. Let's have a go. This is where the part where the sensor cracks in too. Hang on, I'm going to have to need both hands for this. Unbelievable. Look at that. Got it out and in one piece, completely undamaged. It was a complete bugger to get out, but it's out now. I can't believe this. This hole's going to need a damn good clean up. Absolutely full of shit. I shall give that a clean once I've got the bearings out. Right, let's go and push this bloody carrier off. Split it in two. Well, I found I couldn't fit that in my bloody press. You're right for putting the bearing, pushing bearing out and in. No problem, but this was just too wide to fit in there. So what I did, big 32mm heavy socket sitting on there, with it sitting in the vise like it is now, and then I beat the shit out of it with Mr. Lump Hammer. And that got it out in about 7 or 8 taps. Well, fucking great thwacks. But there you go. That's that done. Now all I've got to do is turn it round and try and get the bloody circlip out. I'll show you that. Move that. Hang on. Here we go. Somewhere in amongst all this rust, there is a circlip that holds the bearing, stops it from sliding out again. I can't even see it. Good old spray up. Bit of the old penetrating fluid. I'll run a wire brush around there and see if I can find anything. Well, I think I found it. In there. Rotted in solid. Oh, deep joy. Took a lot of fucking cleaning up, I tell you. Oh well, now I have to beat the shit out of it and try and get it out in bits. Oh well, such is life. Well, there we are. Only took about half an hour. Thankfully, This end, no good, because it goes into the back of the fucking thing. But this end, cut the other way. I can actually get a very sharp screwdriver, one that thankfully is made for hammering. One of these lovely things. You can actually hammer them. And I managed to bend it out. And then twist the rest of it out. Okay, it's going to need a clean up, but that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to soak it with yet more penetrating fluid and then try and press this fucking bearing out here. That should be fun. There we go, one old bearing out. Amazingly, it only gave one crack before it let go. Wow, we're nearly there. Need a lot of cleaning up now. Got a lot of the rust in that off this now, but the inside of it's fine. I'll just give that a wipe out. Obviously you don't go getting any abrasives in there. Not a good idea. Otherwise your bearing will be slack. That is not what you want. All I've got to do is clean out this groove in here, ready for a new clip to go in. Clean around the other bits where it's a bit grubby. Make it last a bit longer maybe. Oh, and I've got to clean out this hole here now. Right, let's get on and get some cleaning up done. Right, that's it. That's all nicely cleaned up. Holes all cleaned out. Threads cleaned up. The grooves cleaned out in there. That's terrible. Right, before I press this bearing in, one thing you have to remember is this bearing has two different sides. This silvered side goes to the back. The black side contains magnets. They're for the ABS sensor, which as you know, it's in that hole there. If you look down in here, you'll see it right at the bottom where my finger is pointing. In there. So that's where this black bit has to go, down in the hole, down there. There we go, fitted. Alright, let's go and press this bugger in. There we go, pushed right in. I'm ready for me to put the circlip back in there. Which I should go and do now, if I can find the damn thing. And then if I can get it in, I'll leave it here and try and do it here. So I've then got to turn the whole bloody thing round, support the bottom of this, and press the other bit in from the top. Right, there we go, one circlip in, and that went in without a fight. I believe this. Right, let's go and get the hub, press that in. Nearly forgot. I'll take this off first. The other part of one of the races that always ends up stuck to these. I just got to get it off. Now I've got two choices. I can either use the bearing puller, may work. I can cut it, which will definitely work. We'll see what works. There we go, all pressed back in. Only thing to remember with these is when you're pressing this in, you've got to put a support underneath to support the inner part of the bearing. Because if you don't, when this pushes down, it will push the bearing in too, and you'll get a new bearing. As you can see, all spins nice and easily. Although one hand and the whole thing just sitting on a vise, it's hard to turn. There we go. Hey, nice and smooth. Right. That's me done for today. I'll be back again tomorrow to finish this off. See you then. Right, here we go. We're back again. And oh, I forgot to turn the camera on earlier, which is very silly of me. But there again, it was all pretty boring stuff, really. It was just a case of attaching the hub to the lower wishbone, because you can get that nut on a lot easier when you've got nothing else in the way. Putting the drive shaft through, sticking a nut on it just so it would hold it, That didn't fall back out again. Then bugger about lining this up so you can get the 2 bolts in there. Okay, I had to clean the bolts up, and they've got shitloads of anti-seize and stuff on them as well now. Once that's all done up, oh yeah, I had to re-thread the bloody lead with the ABS back through the bodywork. That was fun. Fine if you can take off this cover here, but there's so much crap under it I can't even see where the clip's up for it, and I wasn't going to risk taking it off because it will all just fall apart probably. So I just managed to get my hand behind it and feed it through. But that's all done. There's a new bolt holding that in place as well on the hub where the sensor goes in. The sensor's also got a little bit of anti-seize around it, not obviously anywhere near the end of it where it reads, just a bit around the bit that clips in, so it'll hopefully stop too much crap building up in there in future. Yeah, then it's just a case of whacking the the disc on. My brain's not working today, I tell you. Whacking the disc on and putting the 2 screws back in, again with a little bit of anti-seize on them. And then the caliper. Again, the bolts have all been cleaned up. Got some anti-seize on them. Everything's done up nice and tight. The only thing I've got to do now is the lower wishbone is not fully tight, so I've got to get a bit of weight on that so I can tighten that down. I'll just bring the little trolley jack over. So that's it really. All I've got to do now is put the wheel on and put it back down. So I've already torqued up the nut on here and staked it down. That's all done. That's a new nut. It actually fitted, which is most unusual because 9 times out of 10 with this sort of job you get the wrong size nut sent. Virtually guaranteed. So now all I've got to do on this is go around the other side, lube up that handbrake linkage, and then possibly I might do the pins on the other caliper today, but probably not. I might just leave those to another day, because I think that could be a whole world of hurt trying to get those out. They could well snap. Oh dear, yes, I've done quite a few of these things in the past and they can be complete and utter twats. It might even need a new caliper. In fact, you'd probably be better off with a new caliper, judging by the state of that other one. This one, as you can see, isn't too bad. It's quite new. Right then, that's going to be that for this one, and that's going to be the end of this Freelander session. Thank fuck. It all went well. I believe it. So next time, it'll be either the Defender or the old girl, depending on what comes first. Probably the old girl. All I've got to do is put a new master cylinder in there for the brakes and bleed them, and that's it. Because I want to get that back on the road before I take the Defender off the road. Because I need a vehicle, obviously. Right then, that's me for today. And as you can see, for once, I'm actually happy after working on a fucking freeloader. I don't believe it. Somebody down there likes me, I think. Finally, it didn't fucking fall to bits. Will take months to do fuck all. All done in what? 5 or 6 hours. Which, believe me, as you probably do know, for a job on this freeloader, that is fucking amazing. That's like doing it before you've even started. Right. Take care, peoples, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.